What's up, chat? How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Wactical Wednesday, I guess. Glad to see Nit's got a second Grotsmas test. Yeah, we're gonna talk about GSC calls today. And oh my god, what a detachment they got. We literally were joking on stream yesterday. What if GSC Call got a detachment where you were allowed to take Tyranids and they ate you? And that's literally what they released, dude. This detachment's so rad. It's a mixed Tyranid Gene Stealer Cult detachment. It's got some incredible buster Gene Stealer cults. It gives you a nice use case for some of your Tyranid stuff too. It works thematically. This detachment's like chef's kiss. I think it's both strong and cool, and that's like exactly what we want out of a detachment. So yeah, let's get into it. My camera's like all askew. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the detachment. Probably do a little bit of a list build with it as well. And actually, what I'd like to set up, I do have a stream. I have a stream scheduled for later. We're gonna do Astra Militarum. We have this new cool feature where we can do we set a stream goal.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. Quick, the speaker of the four-armed emperor is taking damage. To the gestation pools we go.
Ryan G, thank you so much. The speaker of the four-armed emperor. This is like the Texas speech had a little trouble with that. Four-armed emperor. Yeah, this one sounds amazing. I'm super psyched. All right, so we have this cool thing we can do where we can do a little goal. We can do a super chat goal. And I have a bunch of videos to edit and stuff, but I will, if we hit our super chat goal, I will postpone and we'll play a game with this Gene Stealer Cults attachment. And we'll probably do the same thing for in Pro Guard as well. So if you want to see me play this stuff on stream, right after the stream, go ahead and throw trash at me, and I'll do it for sure. All right, folks, let's dive in, and let's talk about this freaking detachment. So we're over here with the final day. We have Ascension Day, and we have Final Day. It's a story in two parts. So, first of all, the cool thing, we can take up to half of our army as Tyranids. Yeah, I think Ryan's just hit, like, literally a split second before I hit send on this thing, so it's, it hasn't included it. You can't have a Tyranid Warlord, but the Tyranids you can take can only be Vanguard Invader. You can't take Broodlord and Gene Stealer, so you can't double up on your Gene Stealer count, I guess. You also can't take Harpies. Poly Principal, if you're in chat, I'm sorry, man. No aircraft. But what do we get for taking Tyranids in our army? Power from Hungary. I know, yeah, we caught it on the stream. Yeah, we absolutely nailed it, which was nuts. That was like just a wild guess, and we absolutely nailed it. So at the end of your movement phase, that timing's really important because the new post-Codex Gene Stealer cult icons regenerate models back to their units in their command phase. So if you are allowed to consume your Gene Stealer cultists earlier than movement phase, you could then regenerate the wounds that you deal. So they did it in movement phase first, so that you can move and you get yourself into position. You don't have to like pre-deploy yourself in order to get these benefits, but also so that you can't immediately heal your casualties. That said, you still can heal your casualties, so you can keep a couple of units that are relatively out of line of sight, deal damage to them, and then constantly be healing that damage back every turn with cult icons. So you can feed the Tyranids really easily in this attachment. It takes a little bit of pre-planning. For each Tyranid Synapse unit in your army, you can select a Gene Stealer cult unit, excluding a Gene Stealer for whatever reason, and one friendly Tyranid unit within 9 inches of it. So the Synapse creature projects an aura. Within that aura, you need one Tyranid unit and one Gene Stealer cult unit. They both have to be visible, which is a little bit annoying, but I think that's probably fine. If you do, the Genestealer Cult unit from your army suffers D3+1 mortal wounds. One model in the selected Tyranid unit regains that many mortal wounds, and until the start of your next movement phase, each time a model in the selected Tyranid unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. So you can get hit bonuses on Tyranid units. Now, obviously, the Tyranid units you can include are pretty limited, so we don't have any like big heavy beaters here. We're not adding bonuses to Tyrannofexes or to Exocrines or these other Maleceptors and stuff like that. However, we do have the opportunity to regenerate our Tyranid units. We also have the ability to improve their accuracy. In addition to that, your Tyranid units project a 6-inch aura of +1 to hit for Genestealer Cult units, which is like I think real the real detachment ability. So your GSC are always +1 to hit when they're next to Tyranids. The Tyranids can kill GSC to heal and get +1 to hit as long as you have Synapse creatures to tell them to do so. It's very cool. I think at the baseline there is, getting +1 to hit for what is effectively your whole army. Like most of the time, you're going to be getting +1 to hit. That's already incredible, and in addition, you have this healing mechanic that you can abuse in some way. Now, to be fair, the regeneration effect is models in the Tyranid unit, so you can't use this to like regenerate, models back in. It's a model regaining wounds, so it's good for monsters, less good in other situations. And to be fair, most of the monsters that we're taking in Vanguard Invasion are like, we can be taking Hive Tyrants, which don't really get a benefit from this. I think it's Trigons and Molochs is like really where the use case of the healing and the other stuff is. But otherwise, that is where we're going with that. All the Molochs, definitely Molochs for sure. Yeah, Death Leaper looking great. Neurolictor is looking great for sure. Not to mention the fact that forcing Battle Shock checks is just fine as well. The one thing to keep in mind, though, and we usually talk about stuff that you lose for playing out of a single detachment faction, but I do think it's important to discuss what you lose playing Tyranids out of faction. So the entire Synapse army rule turns off. So you have the Synapse keyword, but you don't have the ability active because your army faction isn't Tyranids. So you don't have your 3d6 Battle Shock check. You also, this has the addendum of +1 strength. You also don't have that within 6 inches of a Synapse creature. So those have been removed. You also obviously don't get Shadow in the Warp as well. So the Tyranids that you're taking aren't at full power, but you can take them just as, no pun intended, catalysts for the damage from the rest of your army, simply because they can project this hit bonus aura. So that's pretty cool. This is why Trigons got nerfed. Yeah, definitely. It was just because of Genestealer Cults, for sure. Yeah, Von Ryan's looking really cool. I think Lictor, or not Lictor, fucking Gargoyles. I think you just windmill slam into this army, for sure. So the other thing I think it's important to note is that the Genestealer Cult units that benefit from the +1 to hit don't have any there's no keyword restrictions on that, so it works on monsters. Or it works on, there's no monsters. I don't know what I'm talking about. It works on vehicles. It works on infantry. It works on whatever. All of them get +1 to hit regardless, as long as there's a tier to within 6. That's crazy. That's crazy. Crazy good. Absolutely insanely good. What are the enhancements? Synaptic Augur. You can put on Tyranid models. And this is cool. We're actually using these model assignment keywords in an interesting way, because we can assign enhancements to both GSC and Tyranid units. So, Synaptic Augur, each time a bearer would regain 1 or more lost wounds from the Psionic Parasitism detachment roll, it regains twice instead. Tyranids, I think, are usually dead if you are, if you're being assigned to this. The only things that this attaches to are basically Winged Hive Tyrants and Winged Primes. The Winged Prime is the easiest character in 40k to kill. They just die instantly. And the Winged Hive Tyrant, I don't know if the wing type Tyrant is particularly great in this detachment. He does have his free strat aura, but it only works on friendly Tyranid units. So he's not super duper like impactful here. And he's another unit where a lot of times if he's in line of sight, he's just dead. Because the type Tyrants, 10 wounds is not a lot of damage sponginess. True. That's true, chat. Yeah. I misspoke. An enemy is within 6 inches of the Tyranid. Each time a GSC cult unit makes an attack. Yeah. So it's not within 6 inches of the GSC unit. It's within 6 inches of their target. Yeah, that's a good call out. That is important to discuss for sure. You can take a forest of lone operatives in the middle of the table. Yeah, we can take all the lictors. Why not? Let's go. Enraptured Damnation. Enemy units can't shoot Overwatch at you. That's for Genestealer cults only. Feels good. That's probably just a auto include for sure. Especially if you're taking, Acolyte hybrids, hybrid metamorphs, all this stuff that wants to come, get up close and personal to your opponent. Just can't shoot Overwatch. Amazing, incredible. Vanguard Tyrant. You get +1 strength and AP in melee. 25 points though. +1 strength and AP is cool. I would love some attacks and damage maybe, but it's a little bit on the weaker side in terms of offensive improvements. He goes to strength 10, AP 3, which is like fine. But when you compare it to most other offensive buffs in the game, it's not that great, and it's also expensive, and it's also on a unit I'm not sure you're taking. So this is like, if you have points for it, sure, but I could even leave it at home even if I'm taking a wing type Tyrant. And then last, Human Integration. GSC only. Weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit have sustained 1 while targeting enemy unit within 6 inches of one or more friendly Tyranids. Tyrant won't hit strength 11. Yeah, he doesn't get the +1 strength built in. Yeah, so he's stuck at his base strength +1 from there. So yeah, just looking at this, like I think honestly, you can definitely take some Tyranid utility. I think that lictors, like we talked about, is an interesting inclusion to discuss. I think that on a baseline, you're probably windmill slamming gargoyles into this list in huge numbers because you want to have an aggressive unit that can push forward, and then you can get them in range to get this buff. And there are some other stratagems that work alongside that as well. Those guys are the fastest unit, like in the Codex. They're like in conversation for the fastest unit in the game. They're move 12, advance, shoot, move again. They can get literally anywhere you want them to be in order to access these buffs. So I think you're definitely taking a bunch of those. You might be able to take some stuff like Molochs and Trigons. I think those guys they've been nerfed quite a bit, and they don't really synergize particularly well, especially since they basically do the same thing that Genestealer cults do already. A big deep striking melee threat is not really something that Genestealer cults don't have. So I'm not really sure what other Vanguard invaders we can take to really abuse this, and I definitely think that we are taking a couple of units of the lighter stuff, like lictors and gargoyles, in order to buff this. Let's take a quick peek at a list of Vanguard invaders, actually, real quick. Let's see. We go into Vanguard Onslaught on Waha. I think we can see a list. Yeah, here we go. Death Leaper, I think, is an auto-include. There's a stratagem that really buffs you for taking Tyranid characters. Parasites of Mortrex might be interesting for the same reason, actually. You can't take Genestealers, unfortunately. The Tyranid Genestealers. And then I guess Raveners are probably the other inclusion for sure. They're also fast, and they're infantry sweepers, so you can dedicate your Genestealer cult half to clearing big stuff a little bit more effectively. The Tyrannocyte is an auto-include. Yeah, windmill slam that shit. Let's go. That's so funny. When you regain wounds, do you regain models? No. unless it specifically says so. This says, and the detachment ability says one model in the Tyranid unit regains the wound. So you can't. It's not. It doesn't bring back dead guys. Do Tyranid units have to worry about their leadership tests? They will, yeah, for sure. But again, I don't think this is like, this isn't a Tyranid army, right? Like, the Tyranid units are support. Theoretically, if they fail Battle Shock a couple times, you're not like, it's not the end of the world. All right, let's talk about some stratagems, folks. We started really strong here. Hyper ferocity is fucking nuts. This stratagem is incredible. It's usable in the fight phase on a GSC cult unit that hasn't fought yet. You get reroll wound rolls of 1. Already? That's okay. 1 CP, you know, maybe I need a little extra something to get through my target. We'll use it. However, if there's a Tyranid unit within 6 inches of the enemy, you reroll full reroll wound rolls. Fucking okay. Let's go, dude. Yeah, that's not exactly hard to set up, and we're just getting full wound rerolls. Doesn't matter what we're attacking, as long as we're a Gene Stealer Cult unit and there's a Tyranid next to our target, they're getting absolutely fucking wrecked. Plus, we're getting +1 to hit as well, because we're targeting a unit within 6 inches of a Tyranid. So, like, we're already getting a buff. This is stratagem's nuts. Absolutely nuts. Just super duper crazy. Psi Surge, start of any phase, a Tyranid unit from your army can extend the range of their Catalyst ability by 3 inches. A little weird rider here. Each time you use the stratagem until the end of your next command phase, you can't use the stratagem again. So you can't, like, I guess, windmill slam it to extend your range in multiple phases. You have to choose one phase to use it. Kind of strange. I don't know if you have enough CP to do that, but fair enough. But that's good if you, especially if you're dwindling on your Tyranid units, because you probably have to play the Tyranid units really aggressively and they'll die. But if you're getting whittled down and you only have a couple, you can potentially put yourself in a position where you can get a couple units within 3 inches, or within 9 inches instead of 6 inches, and benefit the your Gene Stealer Cult units with that. Think you take 6 mans of Ravener's Detachment? I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I'm still not sure that you want to take like 1,000,000 Raveners. +1 to hit on Raveners is definitely good, but do we need that many Raveners to kill like a 1 million infantry? I'm not sure, especially because they're only AP1, and so you probably run into some issues with Armor of Contempt. Even though it did get nerfed, like that's one big AP1 activation, and I think a lot of units can blank a lot of that damage. So I'm not sure about the Sixers. I definitely think a couple 3s is incredibly strong for sure. Avenge the Star Children. So this is the reason that we want to be taking some Tyranid characters in our list. Use it in your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase after an enemy unit has shot or fought. You target a Tyranid character from your army that was destroyed by the enemy unit. Until the end of the battle, Gene Stealer Cult units from your army make an attack targeting the enemy unit that killed you. Get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. So we're potentially stacking +2 to hit, +1 to wound, and full wound rerolls. If you can set up a situation where your opponent's big Death Stars kill your characters. Given the fact that you have like relatively fast characters and you can just kind of throw them away, I think it's probably fine. You like throw a Parasite of Vortex into like Robu to kill him in. You're like, hey buddy, what's up, dude? You want to kill this idiot? And he's like, I guess so. And then the whole army just annihilates him. Pretty cute. Pretty cute. 3 solo primes. Yeah. Yeah, like literally might be the case. They also like are really easy synapse access to. Divine, I guess they're also good like utility, and you can up down them. Sick. I'm in. But we'll talk about that in a sec. Divine Imperative. Usable in your charge phase. You target one Gene Stealer Cult unit from your army that has not been declared in charge this phase. You select an enemy unit within engagement range of a Tyranid unit from your army until the end of the phase. Each time your unit declares a charge, if the enemy unit is one of the targets of the charge, add 1 to charge rolls for your unit and reroll the charge roll. So we can set up some stuff where we can use, you know, big tank, like big beefy deep striking units like Aberrants or something, to, I don't know why my PDF's moving around, to potentially charge at a deep strike. It's an 8-inch rerollable. It's about a 65% chance to make that. If you already have a Tyranid unit in engagement, if you're already on the table or you're rapid ingress, you can almost assure a charge with this. It's kind of like a superior CP reroll with a clause with additional requirement, but also you can you have to prepay for it. So it's either that or you can like hold for a CP reroll. Either one works. It's all good. Darting attacks. The downside is that it's your opponent shooting or fight phase. It's green strat. No, it's any fight phase. You can use Avenge the Star Children on your own fight phase. The green stratagems means they're usable in either turn. A little bit of a secret, a peek behind the curtain. Red stratagems means your opponent's phase, your opponent's turn. Blue stratagems mean your turn. Green stratagems mean either turn. So because it's green, we know that it's in either turn, and then if we read the when clause, it says any fight phase. Darting attacks. You're shooting a charge phase. One Tyranid unit from your army until the end of the phase. It can shoot and declare a charge and turn in which it fell back. This is pretty good. I mean, it's a good stratagem to have. It does only affect the Tyranid units, and I don't know how many Tyranid units we're going to be taking that are going to survive too many rounds in melee, but it is nice to have just in case you need it. Honestly, beyond maybe like the extra range on Catalyst, which I think is a little, you know, it's whatever, I guess. Basically all of these stratagems are nuts. There's just like there are no bangers, or it's all bangers. There's no failures here. Yeah, the colors mean something. No, it's it. So this stratagem is targeting in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase. It doesn't say your opponent's fight phase. It just says the fight phase. This is the standard. This is standard like templating. You know, it's basically the same over here. Hyper ferocity can be used in your opponent's fight phase because the only timing is fight phase. Yeah. So it's absolutely usable on your own turn. Resistance tunnels. Usable at the end of your opponent's fight phase. One Gene Stealer Cult unit or Tyranid unit from your army not within engagement range. You put it in strategic reserve. Delicious. We have a delicious and nutritious uppy downy in this detachment as well. It's got everything, dude. It's got wound bonuses. It's got like character punish. It's got rerolls. It's got hit bonuses. It's got fall back and charge, but it is a really tight targeting, so it might not be useful very much. It's got charge bonuses. It's got redeployments. Holy crap, dude. This detachment is fucking awesome. It's so good, and it's so fluffy, and it's crazy. So let's build a list with it. Tools for a Flyrant? Yeah, but like... you have to play a Flyrant, though. You have to play a Winged Hive Tyrant that doesn't have... it can't free strat, or it can free strat but only on a couple units, right? And most of your army can't do it. And it doesn't have advance and charge because it's not in Vanguard Onslaught. So it's like slow. It's like slow and derpy. Like I don't know. I'm actually not really into the Winged Hive Tyrant here. They're trying really hard to make it work, but I don't think it does. All right. Let's do this thing. I think that... so let's go ahead and set our battle size. I don't know why we get extra detachments in here. All right, let's go ahead and set this thing up. So I think at the very least, we're probably going to windmill slam a bunch of gargoyles in this list. That feels like it's basically an auto include. Gargoyles times 3. Ta-da! I also like Raveners. Raveners also have a built-in up-down, which is kind of nice for them. So we'll take a couple of them. And then I do think that we play the old Leaper of Death. And are we into Parasites of Mortrex, chat? You get Ripper Swarms, but they're really expensive for some reason. And for some reason they only move 12. I'm kind of into the Parasite of Mortrex. You could also just do Winged Tyranid Primes, I guess. But yeah, I guess the Parasite of Mortrex. Oh, it's lone operative. Yeah, I feel like we take a couple of them. We can also up down those guys, and then if you can like set them up so that your opponent can kill them, so you can generate your +1 to hit and wound strat. That seems okay. All right, we need some level of Gene Stealer cult characters. We need a couple of Gene Stealer cult characters. I think we take some Ridge Runners. You can get +1 to hit on the Ridge Runners. I believe their spotters improve ballistic skill. But I will verify that real quick. Yeah, so these guys hit on 2s now. That's fucking so nuts, dude. What the hell? So we take like a Survey Augur guy and with a mortar, and then we go another Ridge Runner. We do a bunch of Ridge Runners with spotters, and okay, thank you. Desktop notification, appreciate you, buddy. And heavy mining lasers, 2 of them a piece. Come on, buddy.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. Von Ryan's leap is good for heroic anything that charges killing morph after reactive move. Also, is the price tag on a Neophyte brick with Primus worth?
I think the Neophyte brick's probably pretty good. The Kelomorph reactive move is not is like kind of awkward right now because you can shoot them outside of it. So I don't know if you're gonna get charged that often, to be like perfectly honest. You can make it so that your opponent has to like walk onto objectives or something in order to trigger it, but they can still probably find a way to hit you regardless. Yeah, I think metamorphs are great. Anything that doesn't have baked in wound rerolls, aberrants probably seem pretty good to me too. Any of like the big heavy melee punchers that don't already reroll their wound rolls. So like Acolyte hybrids already do, so you're like, okay, that's like probably fine. I guess the melee guys don't, just the hand flamer guys do. But yeah, we'll definitely rock some metamorphs for sure. I think a big tenor with flamers. Take a cult icon guy. Probably something like that. We can put a truck to get the metamorphs to the fight. It's a little unfortunate that like pure strains don't get any benefit from this detachment. Oh, I guess actually, can you get wound rerolls on pure strains? Is that sick? Or does that say non-gene stealer? I bet it says non-gene stealer. Ooh. Nope, there's no rider on it. Okay. We cooking. So pure strains with get devastating wounds with the patriarch. So we can have these like infiltrating, advance and charge dudes with full wound rerolls and devastating, because you're almost certainly going to be able to get a gargoyle into position, or a lictor or something if we're forward deploying guys. So we bring 1 brick of them. We reroll them dev wounds. Let's fish for some mortals, baby. Sustain lethal aberrants. All right, we're a little low on points here. 2 parasites of Mortrex might be a pipe dream, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, the sustained hits one does seem pretty sick. On a big... Ooh, my poor PDF is chugging along. What the fuck? You could also do sustained one, like we were just talking about on the Primus with the Neophyte brick. Plus one to hit and full rerolls in the Primus's unit seems pretty good. Although we don't have any other critical hit effects, I don't think. So that's kind of whatever. And we also don't get to ignore cover because we're not in an Ascension host. Maybe we're meleeing. We'll just leave the shooting up to the Ridge Runners, I guess. How many points are we at if we rock a big ol' Aberrant squad? The Biophagus. We're a little low. Man, 10 Aberrants are so expensive. 300? Holy shit. Holy shit. They do hit like a truck. And the interesting thing too is that like we're a little bit limited on our cult ambush here because like we have a bunch of Tyranids and we have a bunch of vehicles, which obviously we can't ambush back in. So we can just like have our army ability be we get our Aberrants again. And I guess we can include some 2-point respawns, right? So we can be like, here's 10 Aberrants and then a Hand Flamer Acolyte unit, and then we can get both of those back over the course of the game. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, it definitely feels like the Aberrants of the reinforcement, especially because you can deep strike them back in and then give them +1 to charge potentially. And then we have 40 left. We do need to pay for the sustained hits thing. That's 20 points. And then I guess you can make the Patriarch untargetable by Overwatch. That seems like a list. I feel like we could cut a Parasite for maybe more utility stuff. I kind of like just like uppy downying Acolyte hybrids. It's like kind of sweet. Also a Neophyte hybrid for Obsec might be nice. Because we don't really have too much, like, we're not really... I guess we have a Ridge Runner for camping the backline, maybe. So maybe we just take Acolyte hybrids. Then we have 20 to play around with. I don't really know where that goes. Yeah, the offensive bonus is only Hive Tyrants, which is really sad. I agree. Which is weird, because I don't think it's very good in this detachment. They really tried to make it good, but they were like, oh, we don't want it to be too strong. They have basically 2 enhancements for it. It can only take one of them. And it has a very limited capacity to buff your CP. So I don't really understand it entirely. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's definitely good enough for government work here. That 20 points is like eating. Oh, I guess maybe we could upgrade one of upgrade the Parasite maybe with like the healing thing. That doesn't feel very good, but it does fill in the points. We did it. 1995. Boosh. Sick. Well, that's a list, chat. Yeah, I'm actually I'm a little worried about this attachment because I do think it's really good. I think it enhances Genestealer cults in a way that's really beneficial to them. Like it's a mid ballistic, kind of low ballistic skill, weapon skill faction with the massive attacks. And they're adding some of the best, like, sort of like board control in the game into the army that also then buffs their attacks. I mean, I think it's going to be incredible, to be perfectly honest with you. I think this detachment rules. But I also do think that it captures the flavor incredibly well. I like too, and this is like when we were talking about it yesterday, I also kind of like that it does only include Vanguard invaders, because I was like, well, you could do this like this hybrid Tyranid GSC army, but like, in the lore, the Tyranids like show up in the battlefield and they just kill all the Genestealer cultists like instantly. The Genestealer cultists like rise up and mess with all the planetary defenders, but as soon as the Tyranids are there, they're all the Genestealers are dead. So really, the only Tyranids that the Genestealer cultists interact with are the little ones. They don't really see it when the big big invasion rolls in. So I was like, wonder if they could lock it to Vanguard Invader, and that also means that it's like a little bit more realistic, a little bit more reasonable, right? You're actually having to put the heavy lifting on the shoulders of the GSC units instead of being able to rely on pretty efficient Tyranid shooting, which is something that Genestealer cults I think would love to have. Especially since the Tyranids can get some bonuses from things like Ridge Runners with strip cover. So there is a little bit of like synergy that way. So I'm glad that they like sort of played around that. It gives another cool use to the Vanguard Invasion keyword, which is sweet. Yeah, the final day for GSC is the first day for NIDS. Yeah, it's a super cool like a little bit of Ludo narrative there, Surely not Ultramarines good. No, it's probably not as good as Ultramarines, definitely. Although, Genestealer cults are probably a little bit awkward for Ultramarines to deal with, right? Because anything that is not eminently oathable is probably a little bit tough for that faction. Especially if you're playing around the new oath rules and you take a bunch of stuff that's like high volume, but you want to have +1 to wound. And if you can only +1 to wound one thing, I guess like realistically in this list we have like Aberrants and Pure Strange Genestealer bricks. But other than that, there's not really much that you're targeting, right? Like, what am I gonna do? Hit 3 Raveners? Like, okay, probably not. This is New Recruit is the website chat. So Genestealer cult might be well positioned. I don't know what their matchup into Space Marines looked like previously, and I guess Space Marines do also, to be fair, have some counterplay. I think Space Marine players are probably going to start having to take like Phobos, Librarian, Infiltrator squads, simply because they're going to have to deal with other people's Inceptors, 120 point Inceptor units. Oh my god. And that may just also counter Genestealer cults. We'll see. But I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting matchup. So anyway, chat. That's the Genestealer cult. That's the Genestealer cult detachment. I'm super happy with this attachment, to be honest. And I think if I was a Genestealer cult player, I would be as well. The detachment rules. Everything looks great, and it looks super strong too, so that's rad. I do have, and let me set up a redirect for it. I do have another stream scheduled for later this afternoon in a couple of hours. I'm gonna set up I'm gonna edit a video. So I have a video about some lists that went over the weekend using the new data slate. We also saw some Grotsmas detachments actually played in GTs that were able to take down a GT. So we have some information on that as well. That should be up later this afternoon before my next live stream. And then I'm going to live stream and we're going to talk about some of the detachments that I haven't covered yet on the channel. We're going to talk about the Astra Militarum Bridgehead Strike. Yeah. That's what's going on. So that's what that's going to be it for this stream. But obviously, stay tuned for later this afternoon. Just a couple hours, I'm going to be back, and we're going to talk about some Imperial Guard. So with that, let's break. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me. Ryan, thanks for the super chats as always. Appreciate you, buddy. And I'll see you in a little bit. Cheers.